Hello everyone and welcome to the Mans Esports Series. This, the Pro Team Series, and we are at round number 5 of that now, the 5th and final round in fact. So what does that mean? Well, tonight the winner of the Pro Team is going to walk away with $10,000. There's $50,000 being shared between all 16 teams, but 10,000 of that is going to the winner, and the top 2 teams are currently split by just 10 points. Also, the top 6 teams will qualify through to the Super Final, which will take place in September, where there is a $100,000 prize pool for the pro teams to battle out with. So very important, the top 6 teams going through. It's very close as well in the battle for those 6 spots, particularly between 5th down to 9th. 5th and 7th are split by just 6 points, but we'll get into a little bit more of that just in a little while. Before we bring Justin in, as you'll see, I'm not alone this evening. A couple of things to update you guys on. Now, of course, our AM qualifier events, which are open to anyone at FIA World Endurance Championship events. Of course, the Sebring race was cancelled, as was the Spa race. Racing in general, of course, put on hold for the time being. So there will be an update to follow on what's going to happen on that Sebring AM qualifier, and the Spa AM also has been postponed, of course, and there'll be updates to follow on that on social media. So do keep an eye on that. Of course, as 6 spaces are up for grabs there for the Super Final. Right, there we go. I think that's everything. The Super Final dates are currently going to be on the 19th and 20th of September. I think that's all the updates we need. So for now, let's co-commentate for this evening. It is Justin Sutton. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, Chris. And hello to all the viewers around the world. We hope you are staying safe and staying at home. We've got plenty of action lined up for today to keep you entertained. So grab a drink, find a comfortable position, and settle in for what we expect to be a thrilling couple of races from Spa, don't we? An absolutely legendary circuit that is bound to excite both the drivers and the spectators alike. It's a fan favorite. It's a driver favorite. Everybody loves Spa. I'm excited for it, that's for sure.
Well, there's always a silver lining to everything, isn't it? Of course, we may not be in our usual setting, but we do have to have Justin. We do get to have Justin live with us. So, Justin, how is it all going over there in the States? You keeping safe?
Yeah, absolutely. Staying indoors, working from home, doing everything that I can. Thankfully, this is pretty much par for the course when it comes to me. So actually, this wasn't much of a change for me. I'm a homebody anyway.
And you were with us for the last round as well for your first appearance in this series. What were your thoughts on that now, looking back at that race? It was, of course, a fantastic race, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was. Both the sprint race and the endurance races, I really enjoyed both of those. Sebring threw up quite a challenge for those drivers. But I have to say also, there were a lot fewer mistakes than I was expecting. Again, we spoke about the challenges of Sebring and how difficult of a circuit it can be, but we didn't see it that many mistakes. It was, just really good wheel-to-wheel racing for the entirety of both of those races. And, some surprise winners, some surprise results as well. Yeah, a lot of fun, and I have to say I'm looking forward to Spa even more. Of the 2 circuits, I definitely prefer Spa over Sebring, but if Sebring was that much fun, today should be incredible.
It should be indeed. So let's talk a little bit about the standings quickly then. So currently leading the way is Red Bull Racing Esports. Lazarus are second in the standings. Don't forget, we've had 4 rounds of this now and 8 races. There you can see it's very close between the top 2, isn't it? Just 10 points between them. Total Performance Racing, don't count those guys out either. They are sat there in a solid 3rd place, and they got back to winning form last round as well, taking the win in the endurance race. Fast Racers Forza as well have also been very, very quick, and they took their first win of the season last time in the sprint race. Rise Motorsport are then in 5th. You can see that win for Fast Racers Forza has given them a little bit of a gap over this very close battle for the last 2 qualifying spaces in the top 6. Rise, Virtual Drivers by TX3, Solar Vision, 6 points between them. But then, not so far behind that, we have also Pashura and Team Fordzilla Zilla, who are tied on points. So it is very close between 5th to 9th, just 29 points between them in total. And when you take into account, we've got 2 races this evening, 25 points for the winner of the sprint race, 38 for the winner of the endurance. No one can be counted out just yet. Then rounding out the top 10, we have Alien Motorsport. Behind that, Lightspeed Esports, Jean Alesi Esports Academy, VP Gaming, Legion of Racers, Team Highlands, Raging Dragon Esports, all will be looking to go out on a high. So very, very close in the standings. We've got that battle for the lead in the championship. We've got the battle then for the last 2 spaces in the top 6 as well there, Justin. So 2 very close battles to watch. I believe we may have just lost Justin there.
Oh, sorry
He
about
does
that. I apologize.
quite a lot as it
Sorry
is,
about
but
that.
well, we might as well hear what you were going to say. Go on, Justin. Let's
Yeah,
hear.
I was going to say I'm particularly interested in that battle for 5th position in the championship between Rise, TX3, and Solar Vision. That is going to be really close. And again, that is for the crucial top 6 positions as well. Solar Vision at the moment is the team that's down in 7th position. So they are going to be ones to watch. In particular, I really do think, because they're going to be desperate to try and get those points. They don't need a lot either. It's just 2 points to move themselves up into 6th. So, yeah, they're definitely going to be ones to watch, as well as Rise and TX3. As you mentioned, though, not that far behind Petura and Fordzilla. They could be ones to watch as well.
There's prize money going all the way down the field, though. So $500 difference, for example, between finishing in 12th and 13th. So it's all to play for. But Justin, let's talk about where we're going to be racing this weekend and the car we're going to be in.
Yeah, Spa, as I said, is a fantastic circuit. I'm really looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite circuits in the entire world, to be totally honest. It's top 5, and this car is fantastic as well. The 911 RSR. It's going to be, I think, a really fantastic car for this circuit. It's going to be a great car track combo. I think overtaking is certainly going to be possible at a few locations on the circuit. There's going to be, some dangerous stuff, some scary stuff coming out of Blanchimont into the bus stop chicane. I'm expecting we may see some contact there potentially. It's high speed corners as well too. So yeah, there's quite a variety, and this car as well, like I said, I think it really does suit this circuit.
Yeah, well, we may not have any FIA World Endurance Championship racing on at the moment, but we are bringing the exact same thing to you here in the Le Mans Esports. Let's have a look at the grid quickly then and see who is going to be starting where. So we have the sprint race coming up first, which was set by qualifying. The endurance race later will be a reverse grid of the championship. So Solar Vision have done very well there. They take pole position. How crucial is that? They're in the fight for those top 6 places, and they've only gone and put it on pole position. Brilliant job by Michael Coyne there. Red Bull Racing are then in 2nd place on the grid. Next along on row number 2, we have Total Performance Racing, very consistent so far, and Rise, they're 5th in the championship. They need to try and secure that. They are on row number 2. Brilliant performance from them. Going to row number 3 then, we will have a look at that in just a sec. There we can see Lazarus Racing are in 5th. A good performance from Team Fordzilla as well. They are in 6th place. And then rounding out the top 8 positions, we have Virtual Drivers by TX3 and Fast Racers Forza. They're in 8th place. Alien Motorsport are then in 9th. Team Highlands Racing are in 10th place. And then just outside of the top 10, we'll have a look at the rest of the standings for you. We've got Pashura Motor Center Esports in 11th. VP Gaming.de are in 12th place. Lightspeed Esports are 13th. Legion of Racers are in 14th. And then going towards the back row of the grid, we have Raging Dragon Esports. So that is the grid, Justin. Very good from Solar Vision Racing to be on pole position.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That is an impressive result to put it on pole ahead of Red Bull, who again are your new championship leaders as it stands right now. So very impressive stuff from them to be ahead of Total Performance Racing as well, who of course got that win last time out at Sebring in the endurance race. So yeah, that's seriously impressive stuff, and at a point in the season where it matters hugely. That is incredible news for Solar Vision.
Just before we get into the sprint race, I have to say, of course, we're qualifying for the super final tonight. You have the chance to do that as well from home. We have the sixth and final round of the Rivals event, where you can go on Forza Motorsport 7, put in a lap time in the Porsche 911 RSR around Spa. You have until the 3rd of May to set a time, and the quickest from each region will qualify through to the super final in September, where you can fight for a $50,000 prize pool. So you can do it from the safety of your own homes. You can set as many laps as you want, and you can in the Porsche at Spa as well. That's where everyone has to do a lap in, and the quickest in your region, if you're the quickest in your region, you will then go through and you'll be racing the guys that you're seeing tonight. So, Justin, what do you like around Spa in a Porsche?
Probably Puan, I think, is probably going to be my my corner of choice. I really like that kind of high speed, long corner where you're just turning for a really long period of time and at high speed as well. That's really my favorite part of the circuit. But yeah, as I touched on, there's a few overtaking locations. We could see overtakes into the first corner at La Source, into Lacombe at the end of the Kemmel Straight, certainly into the bus stop chicane as well. But I would expect a few surprise moves as well at some corners that maybe we don't expect quite as often.
Yep, so don't forget that, guys. It was a change we brought into the Mans Esports Series. This is just our second season. We now have two classes. We have the Pro category and we have the Pro-Am category as well. You'll be qualifying to race in the Pro-Am category, so make sure you check that out. Right, let's get into the sprint race then. Solar Vision are going to get us on the way from pole position. Don't forget, they're in the fight for the top 6 position. Let's hope we all get through La Source nice and I believe we have done something.
Yeah, looking very good as they make their way down into Eau Rouge for the first time in this race, on board with that Solar Vision car and making their way up and over the hill. The Red Bull following behind very closely, of course, on this opening lap. Very bunched up this field, but it is single file up at the front as they come onto the Kemmel Straight now. You can see the top four very bunched up to one another, running almost nose to tail and moving to the right-hand side of the circuit. The top 5, actually. We've got some side-by-side action. The Red Bull trying to go around the outside of Lacombe, and it looks like he's just about done it. It's a difficult angle to see it from there, but I think he's done it. He's going to have to go around the outside through this right-hander now, but I think the Solar Vision is down now into second position, and I think that is going to be the Red Bull that now leads the way, which is unfortunate after that very fantastic. Oh, look at that, 3 wide through the right-hander, the Solar Vision in the middle, the Red Bull around the outside. That'll give him the inside line through this next corner. Oh my gosh, I have never seen battling like this on the opening lap. We got a car off as well into the grass. It doesn't look like any major damage. They should be able to rejoin safely. But look at this, just all throughout the field, so bunched up, so much battling. It's crazy out here.
It is indeed, but Solar Vision have done very, very well to lead the way in the early stages. So they are the car we can see in front of us, leading the way at the moment. They sit 7th in the championship, so they need to try and get into that top 6. And at the moment, they are giving themselves the best possible chance to do that as they now make their way down towards Blanchimont for the first time. Look how bunched up the field are as we head down to Blanchimont and down towards the chicane. Fantastic racing in the early stages. We can see Total Performance Racing are the car sat just behind Solar Vision Racing. Then we've got Lazarus, Rise Motorsport are behind that. So the top 4 trying to break away in these early stages. As we go back on board with Total Performance Racing, who were thinking about a dive up the inside of Solar Vision. And at the moment, Justin, Solar Vision are going to lead us on the first lap.
Yeah, Red Bull dropping down a number of positions. I think I saw them down in 10th, so that might have been Red Bull that had gone off the circuit just before Puan and gone into the grass a little bit. But they are still running, and there's a good amount of laps for them to still try to recover some positions here. So they're not out of this just yet, but it's going to be difficult, I think, for them to try and get back into contention for the lead of this race as we start the second lap now on board with the Rise Motorsport car, with a bit of a gap now starting to form, actually, between the top 2 and the rest of the guys that are battling for that final podium position as it stands right now, coming onto the Kemmel Straight for the second time. We'll see if there's going to be any overtake attempts. I have a feeling that there are going to be. Let's see as they get into the braking zone for Lacombe. A bit of a lockup there, but no overtaking going on there. I think that was the Total Performance car that was just locking up a little bit into Lacombe. You can see just running nose to tail through that right-hander, through that entire Lacombe section, to be totally honest. So very, very close. Oh, getting even closer under braking as well. Through the downhill right-hander they go, and into the left-hander where we saw them 3 wide on the previous lap. Impressive stuff that we saw there. And amazing that they're all still in this race is surprising stuff. Through Puhan we go once again, and I wonder if the Red Bull has made any sort of progress just yet, Chris.
We will check in with that in just a second, but of course, a significant battle going on for the top, for the final 2 qualifying spaces within that top 6 to get into the super final. And one of the teams in that battle, one of the 3 main contenders in that battle, is leading the race at the moment, and that is Solar Vision Racing from Total Performance Racing, who are still in the hunt for the overall title and the $10,000 here. Lazarus are behind them. Red Bull definitely in a little bit of trouble. So Total Performance Racing and Solar Vision Racing, Justin, it'll be a good job for them really to just try and work together here, because get these 2 getting away out front. Oh, as we can see, the Rise car just ahead of us getting a little bit out of shape. We are on board with Lazarus, who have dropped down to 4th place. They're trying to get that 3rd place back. They're going to look to the outside into the chicane, now trying to get the switch back onto the start-finish straight. And for now, Rise hold on.
Impressive stuff, but again, that gap is starting to build. It's sort of growing and shrinking and growing and shrinking, a bit of an accordion effect going on as they make their way through La Source once again. We'll see if this is a moment that the Lazarus car needs. They don't have too much to worry about behind, so at the moment they can really focus on that 3rd place position and trying to take that to the top 2. Again, you can see with a pretty sizable gap as they make their way through Eau Rouge over the top of Radion. Oh, lots of wiggling from the Lazarus car. Kaiser just about keeps it pointing in the right direction, but I think that's going to be any opportunity of an overtake ruined into Lacombe. So going to have to stay behind for the meantime as they get into the braking zone now. And it is indeed the Rice car that continues to lead the way in this battle. So holding on to that, second place position. I'm sorry, Lazarus in 3rd position. So yeah, it's shaping up to be a very interesting race. And remember, this is the short race. We've got the endurance race coming up a little bit later on.
Yeah, the endurance race, reverse grid of the championship standings now. Total Performance have hit big problems. They're tumbling down the order. They were in the battle for the lead and, of course, for the overall series title and the $10,000 that go with it. But Total Performance Racing have hit dramatic problems. They're tumbling down the order, unfortunately. So we go back then to this battle, which is now for 2nd between Rise and Lazarus. Important battle this. Lazarus will be hoping to get past. We've got Red Bull a little bit further down the order. As we can see, Solar Vision Racing just getting a little bit out of shape. Red Bull Racing, they are in 5th. Virtual Drivers by TX3, they're another key team to watch. They're in 5th place. So we can see all of those teams within the top 5-6 positions that are battling for the main spaces in this championship. Let's go on board with Lazarus. Here we are looking at the Rise Motorsport car in head. I wonder, Justin, if Lazarus are going to just try and sit behind Rise here and see if they can close in on Solar Vision working together, or if they're going to go for a move.
Yeah, they're really not in any danger from 4th position, so yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't do that. I mean, it certainly would be beneficial, and it is. There's not that many laps to go in this race with it being a shorter race, so certainly, you know, they may just be sitting behind and waiting to make that overtake. Maybe they don't feel like they can catch the Solar Vision car. Again, it is a pretty sizable gap. It keeps growing and shrinking all of the time, but Lazarus still staying right behind, possibly just doesn't have the top speed that they need to make that overtake on the Rise car at the end of the Kemmel Straight. But here we go once again through Eau Rouge and Radion. We'll see if this is going to work a little better. Oh, back end stepping out on the Solar Vision car through Eau Rouge, and I think that's going to cause him to lose out on a little bit of time. Looking back at the Red Bull car, missing a rear wing, making an overtake. We'll have a little bit less downforce, maybe a bit more straight line speed as he goes side by side into the braking zone at Lacombe. We'll have to do it around the outside or brake just that little bit later. A bit of a lockup from the Red Bull. Around the outside it goes, inside line now for the left-hander, and indeed that is going to be the position taken inside line once again through the right-hander, and that is a successful overtake for the Red Bull team. So continuing to make up positions after that difficult start.
Carrying a bit of significant damage. Oh, as we got a change for lead, Rise Motorsport hit the front then in the sprint race here in the Le Mans Esports Series. So brilliant stuff that from Rise Motorsport. A clear mistake perhaps from Solar Vision Racing. They're now down to second and in danger of dropping into third. We're on board with third place. Lazarus staring at the top two. There you can see Rise leading, Solar Vision in second place. There is just 6 points between these two in the championship, with Rise in fifth, Solar Vision in seventh. So this, good job from Rise, as we're going to go side by side then down towards turn number 15. Solar Vision looking to the outside. They're going to try and get the switch back. Can't quite do it. So we go back on board with Lazarus. We can see the top two ahead of us, very close between the top three. We're being treated to a brilliant race here in the sprint race. You can tell just in the approach to this round in comparison to the last round is a little bit more significant. They are going for moves that they perhaps wouldn't have done in the last round, given this is their last chance to score points.
Yeah, this is important for Solar Vision as well, especially because Rise Motorsport is one of the two teams that are battling for fifth in the championship, only 6 points ahead in the championship. And of course, this sprint race does have less points on offer compared to the endurance race that we're going to be featuring a little bit later on, but every point is absolutely crucial when it's that close in the championship. So you can absolutely bet that the Solar Vision is going to be looking to try and get past the Rise here as much as possible. They are still ahead of the virtual drivers by TX3 car, so that's great news for them. But if they want even better news, they're going to want to try and get ahead of that Rise car, take the lead of this race. Again, the back end stepping out, though, at the exact same spot for that Solar Vision car. Just doesn't look planted through there.
Yeah, virtual drivers by TX3, they are in fourth place. So they're not too far behind this, particularly if the top three are going to start to fight with each other. Then virtual drivers by TX3 could start to close in. We're looking at the Pashura car there heading down towards Lake Omb. You can see they are in seventh place at the moment. Lightspeed Esports are behind them in eighth. And Fast Racers Forza not having a very good round. Fast Racers Forza, who are in fourth in the standings, they could drop down the order as well. They could find themselves falling a little bit into this battle for fifth. They're about 50 points clear of Rise, so I'd say not a huge amount of chance of that happening in this sprint race particularly. But we're going to go back to the battle for the lead now. We can see Rise Motorsport ahead of us. Solar Vision in second place at the moment. Lazarus then in third place. Really good battle this. It seems like it's settled down just for the time being. We're on lap number 5 of 8. Don't forget we've got an endurance race coming up after this as well. 25 points up for grabs for the winner of this sprint race and 38 for the winner of the endurance race. Rise, they would hold on to their 5th place in the championship with this result. Solar Vision would go up to 6th. They wouldn't need to beat Rise to do that. So for Solar Vision, this is good news. They would score 18 points. Virtual drivers by TX3 would score 12 points. It was to go out now, meaning Solar Vision would overtake them and be ahead by 4 points going into the endurance race. So it would still be very, very close. As down towards chicane we go. Rise just taking a slightly defensive line there as Solar Vision just popping into the back of them just a little bit of contact as it seems behind. Lazarus are starting to fall away, and then just in that battle for fourth isn't too far behind this either.
It's really not, although we are running out of time in this race pretty rapidly, so they're really not going to have too much time to make something happen. So the top three aren't really battling at the moment. They've settled down a little bit, but the Solar Vision still running very closely in second position there and looking to make an overtake. Oh, and this time it's the Rise that loses the back end, actually. They've done the Solar Vision. Oh, and that's a big slide. That's going to be a lot of positions lost.
Yeah, well, Rise have gone tumbling down the order. Unfortunately, Rise are now, well, we're going to have to wait and see where they come back, but that could be their space in the Super Final, gone just like that. We'll pick up where they get to in terms of this race very shortly, but for now we're going to stay with this battle for the lead because it does carry a lot of importance as well, as Lazarus are trying to fight for the overall lead in the championship. Red Bull Racing, they're going to go up to third now, so that would mean there would be 7 points between Red Bull Racing and Lazarus if the race were to end like this going into the endurance race. So Lazarus, they could do with getting the lead of the race here and getting that extra 7 points that goes with it. Solar Vision, of course, they're going to want to hang on. They've seen Rise have that spin, coming up through Radion, and now they've gone down the order, just trying to see where they are. They're in 9th place at the moment. If they've got damage, they could drop a little bit further than that. And virtual drivers by TX3, they will be in 4th place. So a big change that, Justin, in terms of the championship.
Yeah, that's really shifted things back to Red Bull and Lazarus, as you pointed out, and it's sort of about them now. But again, this is great news for Solar Vision, who again are the lowest of the 3 teams battling for that 5th place position in the championship. So great news for them. Rise, unfortunately for them, with that win. Oh, the back end stepping out through Blanchimont for the Solar Vision. Are we going to see an overtake attempt here around the outside into the bus stop chicane? But it looks like, I think the Solar Vision is going to stay ahead. Yes, they do. They managed to maintain that position as we come on to start the penultimate lap of this 8-lap race. Only 2 laps to go. Will Solar Vision be able to hang on? Will they lose the back end through Eau Rouge once again? We'll have to see as we make our way through La Source once again. But yeah, this is great news now for Solar Vision. Rise was going to, if they had won that race, if things ended the way that they were before that mistake from Rise, then they would have been heading into the 2nd race with a 17-point lead in that battle for 5th in the championship. So they would have been sitting very comfortable, not 100% comfortable, but quite comfortable as we go side by side, coming up and over the top of Bradion, side by side down the Kemmel Straight, inside line for the Solar Vision. Let's see how they're going to deal with this one as they get into the braking zone for Lake Home. You can see the Red Bull getting in there as well. The Red Bull coming into the shot, missing that huge front wing. Inside line for the Solar Vision car, still side by side through Lake Home. Back end stepping out, that's a huge drift. Lots of style points, but unfortunately dropping down to 2nd position. And this just became a 3-way battle for the lead with less than 2 laps to go.
Well, Lazarus were looking in their mirrors there. They could see Red Bull getting closer and closer. We're on the penultimate lap of the race, and they thought, if you're going to make a move here, we have to do it now, and that's exactly what they've done. Solar Vision did a good job to hang on there and stop themselves from going round. They're still in 2nd place. Red Bull, though, they're coming into play now. So we have, once again, 3 for the lead here at Spa on the penultimate lap of the race. We've got Solar Vision ahead of us there in 2nd place. Leading now is Lazarus. We are on board with championship leaders Red Bull Racing, but at the moment, if the race were to finish like this, as Red Bull go off into the gravel there, that's going to lose them some time. That's going to give the top 2 a little bit of breathing space. What I was going to say is currently Red Bull Racing and Lazarus, with their standings as they are now tied on points going into the endurance race. So this fantastic stuff. They're going to be looking at Solar Vision going, please make your move, guys. Let us get back into this battle. So this is going to be a really, really good last lap of the race. I think Rise are still in 9th place. Virtual Drivers by TX3 are there in 4th. There's going to be so much maths to do at the end of this, Justin. But for now, we can say there is 3 for the lead and 1 more lap to go.
Yeah, you can actually see TX3 in the background there, just closing in 4th position, getting a little bit closer. Again, all this battling up at the front is just inviting more and more cars into it. So what was a 2-way battle became a 3-way battle, could become a 5-way battle if they have any more side-by-side, especially if they go side-by-side through the entire Lake Home section like they did on the previous lap. On board with the Red Bull, though, running behind the Solar Vision as we descend down the hill into Eau Rouge for the final time in this sprint race. Again, remember, we've got that endurance race coming up. Will we see any drama for any of the top 3 through those corners? Nope, everybody looks nice and planted through there. I don't think the Solar Vision is going to be close enough to mount an attack for that lead of the race as they get into Lake Home. So they're going to have to think about possibly doing something at the end of the lap, coming out of Blanchimont into the bus stop chicane, because, yeah, it is as they were for the meantime. But, yeah, you're exactly right. If they finish like this, then Red Bull and Lazarus are going to be level on 201 points each.
Crazy stuff, isn't it? It's going to be a really, really exciting endurance race. So we're going to have a very short breather after this. So go grab a drink and join us again, because it's going to be great. But what a great last lap we've got lined up for you here. Lazarus leading the way. Solar Vision in 2nd. Then missing a rear wing. Red Bull Racing somehow closing in 3rd place. It could be 3 wide going into the chicane at this rate as they go through Pouhon for the final time. Red Bull Racing, they're getting closer and closer. Solar Vision Racing, who are in a fight to get into the final 2 spaces for the Super Final. Lazarus and Red Bull 1st and 3rd. Well, they're fighting for the overall series win and the $10,000 prize as we head now down to the right-hander. One more time, we can see Lazarus leading Solar Vision through Stavelot. We go. Red Bull Racing there as well. Who's going to make it to the chicane first? Who's going to make it out of there first, more importantly, as they now head down towards Blanchimont? We've got Lazarus leading Solar Vision, leading Red Bull Racing. It's been one of the most enthralling races of the series so far. Who is going to take the race win? Lazarus then going down to the chicane. They're surely going to get defensive. They almost lost it there. They're going to have to go defensive into the chicane. They sit in the middle of the road. Are Solar Vision going to appear on the inside? They don't. Solar Vision are going to try and get the switchback out of the chicane. Red Bull are there as well. But Lazarus have played their cards absolutely perfectly. And Lazarus take the win here at Spa. Solar Vision in second and Red Bull Racing will finish in third. What a fantastic race.
Wow, impressive stuff, and it ended up working out incredibly well for Solar Vision. Lazarus as well, really helping themselves out in the championship as well, level on points with Red Bull Racing. Absolutely incredible stuff. We have to see exactly what this has done with the championship, but the big winners here are Lazarus and Solar Vision, no doubt about it.
Yeah, well, Solar Vision, they've given themselves a safety net, haven't they? So they, of course, we had Virtual Drivers by TX3. Now they were just 2 points behind them, so they're going to be 4 points. I think very quick maths. They're going to be 4 points ahead of them. But then it's the Rise car. Now they only scored 2 points with that, so they're going to be somewhere 10 or so points behind. That's pretty easy to make up. Don't forget, in the endurance race, that's the difference between first and second in that endurance race, Justin, is 11. So although it was bad news, that 2 points that they did score, that's going to be quite crucial, I think.
Yeah, it's going to keep their hopes alive coming into this. So they got to keep their heads up. You know, it was a difficult race, but this is the important one now, the endurance one. It's not only longer, but there's more points on offer, as we've been talking about. And this is the final race of the season. This is their last opportunity, the last chance to get into that top six. And again, I mean, I think we've kind of been spoiled, haven't we, with this battle, because this is thrilling stuff. And unfortunately, it's taken a little bit of the shine off of that battle for between Red Bull and Lazarus for the lead. Now all I can think about is this battle between Rise, TX3, and Solar Vision, because it is so interesting coming into this final race.
Well, I'd say it was probably the race of the series so far. Let's take a look back at some of the best moments then. Justin, I'll hand over to you now to talk us through some of the replays, because there was a lot of fantastic moments in that race. I believe somehow we've condensed it down into a few replays for you, but it will also give us a chance to really digest what we have just seen and work out what's going to be the points, of course, going into the endurance race as well. So very shortly, we will take a look back at those replays. But yeah, let's get them up on screen, shall we? Let's do it now, and we'll have a look. Here we go. So Justin, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah, so this was the start of the 8-lap race, and you can see the Red Bull in second position, still with its rear wing as well. The Solar Vision leading the way, and it was a bit of a chaotic start. We didn't have any massive DNFs or anything like that, but certainly there was quite a bit of jostling for position going on. The Solar Vision, though, getting a fantastic start at the beginning of this race. They had a few small mistakes in the race, the back end stepping out, stuff like that, but for the most part, very clean race for Solar Vision. We did kind of miss what happened with Red Bull that dropped them out of this, so I'm hoping that we'll get to see that in the highlight reel. But yeah, we saw the two side-by-side moments going down into Lake Home, and this was deciding the leader of the race. You can see side-by-side through there. This is on lap 2. And that's the Rise car, and coming into the bus stop chicane, getting very, very close to the back, trying the switchback maneuver on the Rise, but unfortunately not working out. There's the Rise with the back end stepping out. That was when they had their big spin that unfortunately sent them out of the race, or out of contention for the lead of the race anyway. Again, they did manage to salvage some points at the back end stepping out on that Solar Vision. That was an incredible moment. I was biting my nails for several of these moments as they went side by side on the penultimate lap down into Lake Home. The Solar Vision had the inside line, the Lazarus going around the outside, and this was what allowed the Red Bull to get in there, and the Solar Vision with the lovely drift. That should go on the highlight reel right there. It looked absolutely fantastic. I'm surprised they didn't lose more time, lose the position to the Red Bull potentially. But again, that Red Bull just struggling with damage, and in the end, crossing the line in first position for the Lazarus, second position for the Solar Vision, but again, crucially for Solar Vision, ahead of TX3 and Rise, and that is all that really matters to them. So the win would have given them that little bit extra of a buffer heading into that final race, the endurance race that's coming up in just a little bit here, but they still got to be happy with that result.
I think so. guys, let us know what you think. That's the thoughts of Justin. Send in your comments to us on social media, wherever you're watching from, hashtag LMES, and we're going to read some of those throughout the stream as well. Now, the championship standings, I was just having a look at those whilst Justin was talking through those replays. I'm not sure if we've got them ready to go on screen just yet. I think we might do, but it is very, very close, let me tell you. In terms of the major points, of course, we know Lazarus and Red Bull, as Justin was saying, they're now going to be tied on points. Let's get them up in full for you. It's very, very close. You've got to remember the top 6 are the ones that go through to the Super Final on the 19th and 20th of September. This is what it looks like. So Lazarus and Red Bull tied on points. It's pretty straightforward. That makes mine and Justin's job very, very easy. Whoever finishes ahead on track wins the championship. Total Performance Racing, they can't actually take the win because 38 points for them would give them 200 points. So they will be third at best. They've kind of secured that third place now. Likewise, Fast Racers Forza are secure in. But then from Solar Vision back, this is where it gets interesting. Solar Vision 86, Virtual Drivers by TX3 82. Rise, despite that spin up at Radeon, they have 76 points. So there's only 10 points between 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's almost as close as it was coming into the event. All that's happened is Rise has gone from 5th to 7th. So they are still in this. 6 points as well between them and Virtual Drivers by TX3. Team Fordzilla on 55, Pashura 53, Alien Motorsport 37, Lightspeed Esports 11th. And then we have Jean Alesi, VP Gaming, Legion of Racers, Team Highlands, and Raging Dragon Esports. So Justin, incredibly close.
It is. And again, there's more points on offer for this one as well. So we could see a shakeup. Now, Solar Vision has gone from 7th to 5th in that race. So they've done the best job that they can do in that opening round. It's going to all come down to the endurance race because, again, unfortunately for them, there's just so many points on offer that if they struggle in this race and Rise and TX3 have a good race, then they're straight back down into 7th. And what a story that would be to go from 7th to 5th to 7th in the same day when you need to be in the top 6. Ooh, that would be tough. But again, if I'm Solar Vision, I'm riding the high. Let's push, guys. We got this.
To make the challenge even harder, Endurance Race is a reverse grid of the championship standing. So they're all going to be down at the back of the grid trying to work their way through the order. It's going to be a good one. For now, though, we're going to take a very short break. Oh, he made it back just in time. All my papers are flying everywhere. Oh, it's all gone off. Where did you go? Everyone's like, where's he gone? Made it back to the grid just in time, though. It's okay. It's okay. Well, there we go. Really, really close.
You did say it was a short break. Yeah, I underestimated you.
Yeah. Like, where's he gone? Well, it's the last race of the season. It's gone by very, very quickly. I say season, the Super Final is coming up. You can qualify for that yourself as well from home. The 6th and final Rivals qualifier event is taking place at the moment until May the 3rd. Forza Motorsport 7 is where you need to go to do that. More details at LMES.com. You can find out more there, of course. But you'll be able to fight if you can qualify through. May the 3rd is when the deadline is. You've got to get a Porsche 911 RSR round Spa, set a time. If you're the quickest in your region, you join us at the Super Final and get to fight for a $50,000 prize pool. Right, the race is about to get underway, I believe. First, we need to find out who's starting where. So let's get the grid up on screen for you then. Here we go. So it's a reverse of the championship, as we said. So we have Raging Dragon Esports and Team Highlands on the front row, hoping to end the season on a high. Then we go to row number 2. We've got Legion of Racers at VP Gaming. Row number 3, we will go to next. We have got Lightspeed Esports, and then behind that, no Jean Lacey, so everyone will move up a position. We'll do the grid as it would have been. So we got Alien and Pashura, row number 4. Then rounding out the top 10, Team Fordzilla, and the first of our teams in the fight for the championship, Rise Motorsport. They are 7th. And they are 6 points behind Virtual Drivers by TX3, who start just behind them, and 10 points behind Solar Vision, who are in 5th. They're all starting together towards the back of that mid-pack. Then we go to the 4 teams who have already secured their place at the Super Final, guaranteed. Fast Racers Forza, Total Performance Racing, and then behind that, the 2 teams joint on points, fighting it out for the overall series title and $10,000, Red Bull Racing and Lazarus. We have those 4 teams, Justin, who are secured through, but we have the 2 at the top tied on points and $10,000 up for grabs.
Yeah, and Lazarus starting ahead. Now, it doesn't make a massive difference starting 1 position ahead. You know, easily they could make that up into, you know, the first half of the lap or so. But yeah, as we saw, as I saw for my first time last time out at Sebring, the reverse grid race definitely makes things a little bit more interesting, a little bit challenging. So for those that enjoyed that sprint race, I think you're going to enjoy this endurance race even more. It's going to be a lot of fun, but at the same time, it's going to be a real challenge.
I have to say, Justin, quarantine is, you're getting even more impressive on the beard there, I have to say, than last time. How low are you planning to go with that thing?
Honestly, I'm riding it out until quarantine ends at this point.
Fair enough. Well, we're going into the last race. The pressure on those teams that haven't got their space yet, it's going to be pretty high, isn't it? You know, Solar Vision, Virtual Drivers by TX3, Rise. How do they approach this race, particularly starting in the mid-pack now?
It's going to be a tough one. You have to be safe, especially if you're Solar Vision. You know, it's okay if you lose a position early on, as long as you're still in the same pack at the end. You know, as long as you're in that important pack at the end of the race, that matters a lot more. A big thing, I think, especially in the opening laps, again, because this is such a longer race as well, too. A big thing is just going to be keeping clean. They don't want to be getting involved in any incidents. They don't want to be spun around, heading to the back, losing the back end at Eau Rouge, at Radion, all of that kind of stuff. That's a big no-no, especially in the first handful of laps. I would say caution is going to be the name of the game.
It's going to be 28 laps. We are expecting a pit stop as well. So strategy is going to come into play, isn't it, Justin? It's when you make that stop and whether you adjust that depending on what the others do.
Yeah, especially, you know, I expect people that are kind of caught at the tail end of a pack. You know, if you're car number 4 or 5 in a group of 5, 6, 7 cars, something like that, you're definitely going to be looking to possibly come in, get some new tires, get back out there, try to make an overtake in the pit stop phase, because it becomes so difficult when the car ahead of you is getting a slipstream and the car ahead of them is getting a slipstream, and so on and so forth. And it really depends on how you have your car set up as well too. So it's going to be difficult, but yeah, the strategy is going to be, I think, a welcome hand to a few of these drivers that are going to be looking to, you know, make a few easy overtakes, if you could put it that way, easier than going, you know, around the outside of Blanchimont, shall we say.
And all the teams have 3 drivers. They can only do 2 sprint and 2 endurance races each. So there's 2 drivers out there watching on for all of these teams. This is going to be a nervous race to watch for them, isn't it? Particularly for those 3 teams fighting for the top 6 position.
It really is. Yeah, that's going to be nerve-wracking stuff. You know, I don't know what they're doing as far as voice is concerned. I don't know if they're going to be talking to each other, encouraging each other, bothering each other, helping each other out. I don't know what their plans are for that, but oh man, I don't envy the people that are having to drive in this race in particular, because this is a lot to have to shoulder.
Right, here we go then. We are off, away and racing. Who in the Le Mans Esports Series? Who's going to qualify to the Super Final? We're going to find out at the end of 25 laps, as Raging Dragon there almost tipped into a spin at La Source, but they get pointing in the right direction just in time as we now make our way down towards Eau Rouge. We're 3 wide in places here. Let's hope they all make it through nice and safely. I can see Rise Motorsport have had a good start. They are up to 5th place. It looked like one car had gone spearing off there, and I can see definitely we've got someone dropping down the order, unfortunately. Don't think it's one of the championship contenders. So for those guys, everyone is still running safely as down towards Lake Home we go for the first time. We are side by side for the lead there. There you can see Raging Dragon. Oh, that's Legion of Racers, I think, who have gone off. Unfortunately, they're going to drop down the field now. Fast Racer Sports have dropped down. Lazarus are in 13th, so steady progress for them. Team Highlands Racing are there in second as Raging Dragon go down the inside of them. So Raging Dragon have been very busy in the early stages of this race. I can see Total Performance have had a decent start. They are up into 9th place at the moment. Lazarus are up into 12th place, but Lightspeed Esports leading the way out front.
Yeah, Raging Dragon looking strong, though. A bit of a gap now starting to form, though, actually ahead of them. So starting to lose a little bit of time, as it seems, at the moment. But Red Bull still leading the way ahead of, Red Bull leading the way ahead of Lazarus, I should say. I have to say I'm also a bit surprised to see the amount of carnage that we saw at the beginning of the race. I did mention that caution was going to be the name of the game coming into this, but also, again, this is reverse risk of we're having to see people make overtakes that they wouldn't have done otherwise if they had just qualified a little bit further up. So, yeah, people may be getting a little bit desperate. Again, it is the final race of the season. But, yeah, you can see Lightspeed really breaking away now at the front, starting to build a pretty significant gap for Raging Dragon on board. As we go around the outside to Blanchimont, something I alluded to earlier on, not a fun pass to try and make a side-by-side going on up the road as well. A couple of side-by-sides, several side-by-side moments into the bus stop chicane. Who's going to come out on top? Oh, it looks like BP Gaming losing out on one position, possibly another position as well, too. And I think that was Legion of Racers going around the outside, or possibly Lazarus. No, I think that was Legion of Racers. We come into the start-finish straight to start the second lap of this race, coming into turn 1. Oh, going up the inside there is TX3 into turn 1, and it looks like they've got the move done. No, they haven't, actually. Didn't quite get the exit they needed.
Yeah, I think Alien Motorsport were the other team that went down the order, by the way. But one thing that is the most major thing so far is Rise Motorsport are there in 3rd place. There you can see them. Now, they had that incident, that spin in the first race. They're in the fight for the top 6, and there they are in 3rd place at the moment. There we can see Raging Dragon leading. Solar Vision are there as well. So Solar Vision and Rise Motorsport together at the front of the field already. It's only taken them a lap, and already they're in 3rd and 4th place. Effectively, Lazarus have just picked up a 5-second penalty, Justin. So Lazarus just getting the message delivered. So they had contact with Fordzilla, and Lazarus have been given a 5-second penalty. Very significant, as is this battle, though. Solar Vision Racing, we're on board with Rise. Solar Vision there had Rise just down the inside of them briefly, but they are in 3rd and 4th now once again. Raging Dragon are ahead of us in 2nd. Lightspeed Esports are currently down the road and leading the way at the moment. Pashura are 5th. Virtual Drivers by TX3 6th. Lazarus with that penalty 7th. Red Bull Racing are 8th, and it's Total Performance, Fast Racers Forza, Team Highlands after that, then Fordzilla, then VP Gaming, Legion of Racers and Alien Motorsport as Solar Vision desperately trying to get past Raging Dragon here, and Rise desperately trying to do the same on them as they come through Stavilo, running a little bit wide there were Raging Dragon. This has brought Rise a little bit closer once again. Oh, well, Solar Vision going wide there, and they're going to have now right to the outside of them as we make our way through Blanchimont. So Solar Vision, for the 2nd time this evening, have had a big save there, and they remain in 3rd place for the time being. All of this, though, Justin, is bringing Virtual Drivers by TX3 closer. It's a big mistake from Raging Dragon. Solar Vision are now going to go into 2nd place. With them are Rise Motorsport. They will go into 3rd. They're going to have to get the move done at the chicane, or do they? Solar Vision have made the move. They're getting clear. Rise may have to complete it at La Source, so a big lap there. Let's have a look if Rise can do this move into La Source. They're going to be on the outside of Raging Dragon. This is not what they need. Oh dear, Raging Dragon down the inside, and look, it's 5 wide, almost behind. All good news this for Solar Vision, Justin. They are escaping.
Solar Vision breaking away, and rightfully so, and Raging Dragon doing an incredible defensive job, you have to say, so far. Oh no, but losing the back end at the top of the hill, and it looks like spearing off into the barriers as well. So I think that might be the end of Raging Dragon at the front. as we have a look at the Rise car, who is going to try and close up to the back of that Solar Vision up the road. The Rise currently sitting in third position. Look at that, several battles going on in the background as well. That's Lazarus, Red Bull, a few cars, several cars involved in that actually, as they get to the end of the Kemmel Straight and make their way through the Lake Home section. There we go, they're finally single file now, but several battles going on in the background there. And they're again nose to tail through. Look at this. That's got to be 7, 8 cars running nose to tail through that downhill right-hander. Into the left-hander they go once again. Will we see any side-by-side moments through Puan? It looks like a couple of people are getting pretty close to medium length run down to this downhill left-hander, very high-speed left-hander at Puan. And yeah, there is a side-by-side moment actually through Puan going around the outside. Impressive stuff. Lazarus all over the back. Look at the Lazarus car right on the back bumper here. And they're going to try to go around the outside at turn 13. They'll give the inside line for Campus, and that should be the move completed. Red Bull trying to get involved now as well too, trying to follow Lazarus through, because crucially Red Bull doesn't want to lose touch with Lazarus if possible, but Lazarus still not quite getting past here. Red Bull now getting the inside line through Kurt Paul Frere on Lazarus. This is going to be the championship, and they've just about done it. I think they've got the exit speed that they need, and they move ahead of Lazarus. This is frantic battling here.
If you haven't watched Le Mans Esports before, this is what it is all about. We're on board with Pashura. They might not know they are doing it, I'm sure they do actually, but they are playing a big part in the battle for the championship here. But what can you do? They've got to try and make some places as well. They want to get a little bit higher up the standings and get themselves a little bit more cash. But Lazarus, they have that 5-second penalty, don't forget, and we are looking on board with them at the moment. Red Bull Racing, who they are tied on points with, sit just ahead of them at the moment. So we will keep an eye on this battle throughout the race, as we will with the battle between Solar Vision, Virtual Drivers by TX3 and Rise. Coming into the race, Solar Vision had 86, Virtual Drivers 82, Rise 76. So we will keep an eye on what the changes are on that as the race goes on. Oh, a big save there. Just trying to see who that was. I think that was the Fordzilla car who almost lost it there coming up through Radion. So another good battle this going on a little bit further down the order. Leading the way is Lightspeed, Solar Vision in second, but we're side by side here a little bit further back. I think that is the Virtual Drivers by TX3 car, is it? Yes, making a move. So Virtual Drivers by TX3, they need to get as high up the order as possible. They cannot let Solar Vision and Rise escape, but at the moment Virtual Drivers by TX3, that's Fordzilla going back past them. So this is not good news for them at all. That's Fast Racers Forza behind them as well. Race winners this season as well, don't forget. And Virtual Drivers by TX3 are down in 9th at the moment. So very, very bad news for Virtual Drivers by TX3. In 9th, they would score only 3 points. So as it stands, they're going to be the team that doesn't go through if the race ends like this. So this, not good news at all. But here is the battle for the lead in the championship between Lazarus and Red Bull Racing. Pashura just ahead of them.
Incredible stuff we're seeing here, I have to say. Really fantastic. Solar Vision is starting to close down for the lead, by the way, on Lightspeed. Having a look at Lazarus all over the back of Red Bull, because of course they do need to make the overtake on Red Bull. They need to build a 5-second gap as well if they actually want to win this championship, or they're going to need Red Bull to run into a little bit of bad luck. But of course nobody at home wants to see that. We want to see them battle it out, and Lazarus of course on the back foot because of that 5th-place grid penalty. Still running in the midfield at the moment, and inside the top 10 as they make their way through the bus stop chicane once again to start lap number 5 in this 25-lap race. And again, just nose to tail as they cross the start-finish line and down towards turn 1 at La Source. Will we see any overtake attempts into the Lake Home section at the end of the Kemmel Straight? I have a feeling we will. I have a feeling Red Bull might be the ones actually going on the offensive in 5th position, looking to take that 4th place position and start climbing up their way towards the podium positions. At the moment, though, it is still Lightspeed leading the way, with Solar Vision slowly closing that gap, putting in some very quick lap times. I saw the last time I looked from the Solar Vision car, running in that free air, that clean air, of course, and looking very strong. And oh, here we go, down into the braking zones. It is going to be side by side as Red Bull tries to take that position. They're going to be on the outside, I believe. Yes, they are. No, actually, they couldn't quite get alongside, but they get alongside through the left-hander now. Get around the outside. Lazarus trying to follow through, trying to get around the outside through the right-hander. Can't can't quite find a line through there. Can they find a way alongside into this next downhill right-hander? Red Bull now leading the way, starting to build a little bit of a gap as well, and it looks like they are going to do that. Red Bull, it continues to extend that lead. Lazarus can't find a way by, still battling in the background. They're finally getting the way past just before the curve with no name, and up into 5th position, and now they can chase after that Red Bull. And again, it is a 5-second penalty that they're holding on to at the moment, so they need to try and build up time. And again, another side-by-side moment through Buon. Not something you see very often. Fantastic to see, running so close to one another, and still side-by-side at the exit into the next right-hander as well. Who's going to come out on top? Lazarus already ahead, starting to pull away, not side-by-side anymore, and it looks like their total performance is going to come out ahead in that battle and up into 6th position. Impressive stuff. Now, can they hang on to the back of the Lazarus? That's the real question. And can Lazarus catch up to Red Bull, make the overtake, and build a 5-second gap? I'm not so sure. Maybe the pit stops will help them.
Yeah, of course, we've got that to come as well as we look at Total Performance Racing. They are there in 6th. They took the win in the endurance race at the last round. It was a result they really needed. They have already secured their place in the Super Final with the amount of points they have scored, but looking to end the season on a high. You can see Lazarus are just ahead of them, a team they have battled with on several occasions this season. As we go back to Rise Motorsport and Solar Vision, they are in 2nd and 3rd at the moment. They are trying to close down race leaders Lightspeed Esports, who have done a fantastic job, I have to say, Lightspeed Esports, to get away out front. They have not had very good luck. They got a really good start to the season, did Lightspeed Esports, but since then things have just not gone their way. So let's see if they can end with their best result of the season. Of course, so they're going to have this battle to contend with as Rise are trying to look down the inside of Solar Vision Racing going into Lake Home. They're going to be side by side. Are we going to? Oh, and a little bit of contact there. Solar Vision almost going off the road. They just about save it. Rise at the end of Lake Home. Can they get this move complete? Not quite. Somehow Solar Vision have come out still in 2nd place. So brilliant stuff there from Solar Vision. There was a little bit of argy-bargy, Justin, but great racing between Solar Vision and Rise.
Love it, absolutely love it. And I do wonder if they're aware actually that TX3 is so far down. Now actually down into 10th position is TX3, having a really difficult race out there so far. But again, there are still a lot of laps to go. We're only on lap number 6 out of 25. We've still got 19 laps to go after this one is completed. So anything could happen. I mean, these two teams could collide with each other and find themselves behind TX3, and then TX3 could be the team that's actually got the advantage. But and again, just as a reminder to the viewers, it is a different point structure. It's 38th for the win, 27 for second, 23 points for third, 18 points for fourth, 15 points for fifth. So it is bigger gaps between the different positions that you finish in terms of points. And it could end up making the difference. At the moment, it is 10 points, though, is the gap between 5th and 7th. So it's slightly bigger than what we had when we came into this round before the sprint race. But it is still rather close. Anything could happen, and we still have a lot of laps still to go here. So will we see another overtake attempt from Rise here on Solar Vision? I expect we probably will. Will they be a little bit more cautious? I'd say that's certainly possible as well. But Coyote going well, Rise right behind, running well as well. But it is still Lightspeed that leads the way. As you said, Chris, they're looking very strong out there.
Yes, they are. And I've just been told a lot of the teams out there still have 70% of fuel. So I wonder if we will see pit stops, actually, because a lot of them seem to be contending with the fuel usage very well at the moment. Oh, Solar Vision. Oh, we're going to be able to save that. Let's have a look. Yes, just about. Well, Solar Vision, how many times have they found themselves in that kind of position, getting all out of shape and then somehow getting away with it? They are playing with fire, I have to say, so far this evening. This is a risk, Justin, they really do not need to be taking, because if they finish second or third, they're going to qualify through to the Super Final. All they need to do is stay where they are. At the moment, Virtual Drivers by TX3 are around 14 points back from these guys with the standings as they are. We will keep updating you on that as the race goes on. But Virtual Drivers by TX3, they really need to get up towards the top 5 positions to get back into this battle here. They're currently in 8th place at the moment. There is still a long way to go in this race, don't forget. We are only on lap number 7 of 25, and as the endurance point standings go, as Justin just told you, the higher you get up, the more increase there is to the points. But yeah, Solar Vision, Justin, they don't need to be taking risks like that. I know it's hard to, some people say it's harder to go slower when you're driving. You know, once you start taking that's when you'll make mistakes. But if they throw it into the wall with something like they have just done there through Radeon, then they're going to be out of contention and watching the Super Final from home.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, that would be absolutely tragic if it were to end that way. But at the moment, I have to say also the battling between Rise and Solar Vision is doing wonders for Lightspeed, who are still holding on to, last I checked, an almost 4-second gap. And that's about what it was not that long ago, as we see the Red Bull entering the fray and the Solar Vision car pulling off into the pits at the end of lap 7. So that's very interesting. 18 laps still to go in this 25-lap race. So the Solar Vision pulling off, and now it will be the Red Bull that's contending for that 2nd place position.
Yeah, well, there we go. Red Bull could have an impact here into this battle as we look back at Total Performance versus Lazarus Racing. So just as we said, the guys were dealing with fuel very, very well, and we might not see pit stops. The first team comes in, and it's quite an important one as well. In Solar Vision Racing, getting all out of shape there was Lazarus Racing. Total Performance Racing likewise had to take to the exit there, and back they get once again. All line astern. So Total Performance Racing ahead of us. Lazarus we are on board with. But again, scary moments they are as they come up through Radeon. They are all playing with fire through there, I have to say. Let's hope we don't see any incidents through there. But Lazarus it is. They're in 5th place. Of course, let's not forget Solar Vision, who were ahead, have come into the pits. So we will see if the rest of the teams start to do the same, Justin. But that is quite early, I have to say, to come in and make up. I wonder if they had a pit stop planned anyway, and thought, let's just make it early and get ourselves some space on track.
Right, yeah, I think we're both a bit flabbergasted about that one, but you know, these guys are the professionals. We're the ones that just try to analyze the decisions that they're making, but they probably know best, if we're totally honest. So having a look at Red Bull, though, again in that battle for what is the 2nd position with Rise at the moment. Ahead of them. So yeah, just trying to close up slowly but surely, and they are doing so indeed, getting within that slipstream range. We'll see if they can close up coming out of Curve Paul Frere and on the run down towards Blanchimont as they round out yet another lap in this 25-lap race. It's still got some other battles going on a little bit further on as well, but this is a very interesting one in particular. But it is still Lightspeed leading the way, incredibly, holding on, doing very, very well. Not setting the quickest lap times, it's worth mentioning, but still holding on to a pretty significant gap and looking pretty comfortable out there at the moment. So you have to say they're looking good for a solid result. I'm not sure about the win. We're not even at the halfway point of this endurance race, the final endurance race of the regular season, before we do the super final and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's proving to be very interesting, this one. Looking a little bit further back now at the Lazarus, and yeah, again, Lazarus with that 5-second penalty. So that's something that that they're going to have to keep in mind, and that the spectators are going to have to keep in mind. And again, they are level on points with Red Bull coming into this final race after scoring 10 more points than Red Bull in the opening race at the sprint race there. So this is important stuff for Lazarus, but as we've been saying, they're definitely on the back foot. It's gonna be tough for them.
It could be some teams are starting to struggle with a bit of tyre wear here, just to see, you know, how the cars are reacting through some of the faster corners. I think that might be the case, but we will find out in time, of course. I think now, working out the points, I think Rise are currently on 99 and Virtual Drivers by TX3 are on 91. I think that's how it currently stands. Solar Vision, before they came in, were a little bit further ahead than that. I think they would, despite their pit stop, they would still be ahead. So that is not a big gap at all. Virtual Drivers by TX3, though, they've got a hard race ahead now. They need to try and make some more. They're not a million miles away from Pashura and Bashura are not far away from the car ahead of them either, which I believe is Lazarus. So they've got 2 cars not almost close together ahead of them. So if they can get involved, or if those 2 cars start to battle, then they've got a chance to make a couple of positions there. I think for Virtual Drivers by TX3, it's going to be hard for them now, Justin, just to stay settled in this race, stay calm, and be patient.
2:18.2 last time around for the Red Bull, so clearly going very strong. Quickest last time around, actually, for Red Bull. And you can see up 11 positions from where they started in, so things are going quite well for the Red Bull, who at the moment anyway are looking like they're going to be coming out of the final regular season race with the most championship points, so that would be fantastic for them. But they've hit a bit of a wall here. Oh, is that spitting with rain now?
Oh, yes, it is. Now, we've only had this once so far this season, and that was at Silverstone at round number 2 in the endurance race. And I have to say, that was a pretty memorable race, actually, particularly for incidents. It was before the sprint race we just saw. I'd say that was probably the race of the season. So this is going to get very, very interesting, isn't it? Now, your Rise Motorsport, at the moment, you're going into the super final. Now it starts to rain. You're going to start to be getting a little bit nervous. This is going to throw a complete spanner in the works now in terms of this race. This has just made things very, very interesting, I have to say. Red Bull there in 3rd. Lightspeed Esports are only just under 2 seconds up the road. Very soon we could have a battle for the lead on our hands. They're the ones that are going to be hitting the wet corners first now, so they're going to have to be taking on the conditions ahead. You've got Rise and Red Bull behind. You can kind of follow them and learn from any mistakes that they go on to make. So this is going to be interesting, isn't it, Justin? This is going to throw a completely different challenge now. We have a battle for the lead in the championship, a battle for those top 6 qualifiers, and on top of all of that pressure, we've got rain.
Yep, in the final round. I can't. You couldn't script this any better. This is fantastic stuff. And also, yep, I was just about to bring that up. The light speed is noticeably closer to the battle for second there.
Yeah, it's Lightspeed are dropping back. Definitely, yeah. They are dropping back now. We couldn't see them in the distance before. I think Red Bull were about to make a move as they come into frame. We'll see. No, they don't. They would be thinking about one there. I don't know if they were just getting out of this spray, but Red Bull, I think, will be keen to get past Rise here and get after Lightspeed, who are clearly struggling in these conditions now. So this is going to make things very interesting indeed. This the finale of the Le Mans Esports Pro Team Series, and we have a wet race at Spa. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? It happens all the time, and we are being treated to it in the Le Mans Esports Series. Top 3 teams staying out for the time being. Solar Vision, one of the only teams to come in. Will this adjust strategies as well, I wonder?
The rain doesn't seem so bad at certain parts, and then other parts it does seem pretty unbearable. But again, all 3 of the leaders staying out, so clearly they think, I mean, you could still see some blue skies actually, and it did look rather ominous before it started raining. I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't want to commentate or curse on anybody.
It did, though.
I guess
it was definitely, wasn't it? It was it.
It was. Not the rain. Yeah, there was like fog or something on the track. Definitely some precipitation in the air, moisture in the air, you could say. But yeah, now the heavens have opened up, and is the Red Bull going to be able to pull alongside? Are they late enough on the brakes into Lake Home? Not quite, but clearly getting desperate here as the light speed gets closer and closer to Rise.
Yeah, well, here we go. Battle for the lead is definitely hotting up. 3 for the lead. It's like we had in the sprint race. Red Bull, are they just being patient? I wonder here. They can see Rise are closing in on Lightspeed Esports. Lightspeed Esports have had that comfortable lead for a long time. That comfortable lead is quickly vanishing now. Total Performance Racing are still in. Virtual Drivers by TX3 are now up into 5th place. So brilliant stuff that from Virtual Drive TX3. I think now that only leaves them 2 points behind Rise. So brilliant driving from Virtual Drivers by TX3. Rise Motorsport, if they're to lose this position to Red Bull Racing, that could be the difference here between them going through to the super final and them losing out. I believe they're on 99 and 97 it is for Virtual Drivers by TX3. So fantastic turn of events now. This is going to be a very significant battle for Rise Motorsport. Really, they could do with getting past Lightspeed Esports as quickly as possible as we head down through Blanchimont, this on lap number 11 of 25. Rise getting closer and closer. They're in second. We are looking at the Rise car. We're on board with our racers, Lightspeed Esports and Rise Motorsport. You'd have to say on the next lap, they're going to be enough to make a move, but also they've got Red Bull Racing. They're going to be trying to make a move as well. They're looking to the outside and they come into the pit. So Red Bull Racing in. That eases the pressure on the Rise Motorsport car. Now they can just try and focus on making this move, Justin.
Yep, very, very close. Looking to grab the inside line into La Source, spreading right underneath the rear wing of that Lightspeed car. I have to say, I'm very impressed with the Lightspeed car being able to stay ahead for as long as they have and to maintain the gap for as long as they did. But clearly, unfortunately for them, these conditions are just proving to be too much. You can see the back end just trying to step out through the right-hander part of Eau Rouge, but here we go, side by side. Rise with a much better exit at the top of the hill, up and over Radion onto the Kemmel Straight with the better top speed. Is going to pull ahead even before they get into the braking zone, is able to take the racing line through the Lake Home section. Runs a little bit deep though. That could be an open invitation from Lightspeed, who looks to get back around. Oh, just getting the nose alongside, but then that door gets closed off by Rise. I'd say that's firm but fair. So they're going to have to stay behind for the meantime. Rise now leading the way. Red Bull, though, came into the pits already, so will we see Lightspeed or Rise come into the pits at the end of this lap? I'd say very likely that we see both of them or at least one of them, but clearly the conditions out there are pretty difficult.
Yes, they are indeed. Now, I just had a quick check of the points. So Rise 114 I have now down for them. They were actually on 103, sat there in second. 114 they go to now with that race lead. 100 for Virtual Drivers by TX3, who are in fourth place. Virtual Drivers by TX3. I don't know if they can do that with a potentially different strategy, but they really need to try and get involved in this battle. Don't forget, we've got Solar Vision as well. They're down in 8th place at the moment, but they have come into the pit stop to do a pit stop. So we'll wait to see what Rise and Virtual Drivers by TX3 do. Rise, though, since getting into that lead, they've pulled a gap now over Lightspeed Esports, and you can see Justin, Total Performance Racing have quickly come into frame. They are now catching the Lightspeed Esports car. Yep, absolutely. And Red Bull could potentially become a threat later on as well, too, especially if these guys come into the pits, which would be fantastic news for TX3, actually, if that were to be the case, if Red Bull were to take over the lead and knock the Rise car down a position. That would definitely be beneficial as well. That would be helpful to Solar Vision as well, who, as you mentioned, are a little bit further down after their pit stop as well. So of those three in that battle, Rise is the only one that hasn't been into the pits, and as a result, they are now leading the race with Lightspeed right behind. Total Performance in the third position, now starting to close up to the back of that Lightspeed car with the Eternium behind the wheel. And I imagine we'll be seeing a battle for that position starting to develop within a lap or so. You can see they're within slipstream range. They're not going to be close enough coming to the end of the Kemmel Straight to think about making the move into Lake Home. I don't expect, unless Lightspeed had an absolutely horrendous exit coming out of Radion, but it's looking like that's not going to be the case. So they'll be able to hold on to that second place position for the meantime. But that is certainly something they're going to need to worry about. Certainly they're less on the attack on the Rise car up ahead as each corner goes by, and they're having to look in their mirrors more and more as the Total Performance car gets closer and closer. But the rain continues to persist. Again, it is kind of like a light medium rain. It's not really coming down. It's not absolutely chucking it down. And the drivers that we've seen so far are actually handling this situation quite well. Again, there's a lot of pressure on these drivers with it being the final round, and the fact that now it's raining for only the second time this season, that really makes things difficult. Yeah, I mean, Lightspeed Esports, I can't see them putting up much of a fight here. Total Performance Racing are closing in. Total Performance Racing are third in the championship for a reason, and very comfortably third as well. Winners in this series, and I think Lightspeed Esports won't put up too much of a fight here. I think they'll limit the damage here and just not literally move aside for them, but I don't think they will start defending too heavily. I might be completely wrong. We'll find out, because by the time we get to the chicane, I think Total Performance Racing are going to be potentially close enough for a look up the inside here. So this is the battle for second on circuit. Total Performance Racing with Rise getting away out front. They'll be keen to make this move ASAP. Let's see if they go to the inside. Lightspeed Esports almost covering it off and dive to the curb quickly there. So Lightspeed Esports come in fact. So not defending. They're going to come into the pits. That's going to release Total Performance Racing in second. Here is the Red Bull Racing car. They have also come in. Robin Bechter in the car for Red Bull Racing. They won the race at Silverstone. That was in the way. After the first round, they actually took 4 wins on the bounce, did Red Bull Racing. They were hugely consistent. They have finished in the top 2. They finished in the top 2 in every race since then. Of course, that all changed in the last race, but they're hugely consistent. 4 race wins to their name, and Red Bull Racing are doing well in this one as well. They are now in 3rd place.
Yep, looking very good, and are cleanly ahead of Lightspeed as well, way ahead of Lightspeed. Don't really need to worry about them, so yeah, they'll be able to just continue on. Little Red Bull, Lightspeed coming out. I think that was in 5th position, if I'm not mistaken, that I saw Lightspeed emerging out in. But with fresh tires and probably feeling pretty good. I'm sorry, it was 4th actually that they emerged in.
Behind, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Solar Vision right behind. So yeah, that's a battle that's going to be developing soon, I would say.
Yes, so Solar Vision are behind. I'm going to scribble out the points I had written down because it's going to all change with the pit stops going on. And Rise, I think, are due one as well. They're in the lead at the moment. So Solar Vision are now in 5th. And Virtual Drivers by TX3 are now in 8th. I'm assuming they had a trip in and out of the pits as well. So we're still just waiting for Rise, by the looks of it, to come in now. And once they have come in, we can work out who is where. So in the meantime, we're going to take a look a little bit further down. There you can see a Pashura car. Pashura in at the moment. And they are in this battle with Virtual Drivers by TX3. So Virtual Drivers by TX3, who are one of the significant teams in terms of battles for championship places, just ahead of them at the moment. So that gives us an idea of where Virtual Drivers by TX3 are on track.
Yeah, this is a really close one between Pachura and TX3. Pachura running very closely behind. I do wonder if they're going to have an opportunity actually going through Blanchimont and down towards the bus stop chicane. Fairly close, a few car lengths behind, but picking up the slipstream now. And has the rain stopped? I think the rain may have stopped actually. It certainly looks like it's died down. It's looking a lot drier out there. A little bit, yeah, we're getting confirmation the rain has indeed stopped. I'm seeing more and more blue skies. Here we go, side by side now. For Pachura into the braking zone, trying to switch back now. Are they gonna, nobody's pulling off into the pits, anything like that. Still staying behind, a little bit better exit coming out of the chicane. But actually, TX3, an even better exit coming out of the chicane, looking very strong, defending the inside line into turn 1. So they are going to continue to hold station ahead. Yeah, inside line through turn 1. Outside line for Pachura. Can't quite get that done. Nearly did, though. Nearly was able to keep it around the outside, but a lovely battle we're seeing between these two. Oh, another three-way battle going on a little bit further up.
Yeah, Total Performance Racing. This is that Rise as well, I think, involved as well. Solar Vision, likewise, go down towards Lake Holmes. Sorry, it's Lightspeed Esports. My apologies. So we've got Solar Vision there. I think Rise might be just behind this as well. So all going off here is side by side there. Total Performance Racing on the outside. Solar Vision will get into the middle. Lightspeed Esports defending here. We've got Total Performance Racing on the outside. Solar Vision to the inside as well. And then we've got someone else queuing up just behind, which is the Lazarus racing car. So all 4 of these teams battling on track at the moment. Lightspeed Esports leading this quartet. Total Performance Racing, we're on board now. They are in 4th place. And then behind them, we've got Solar Vision Racing and then Lazarus. So this is good news for Virtual Drivers by TX3. If Solar Vision can get caught up in this battle, then they can close in as Total Performance Racing. Great move there down the inside into the right-hander. Can they complete it though? Lightspeed Esports trying to hang on. Solar Vision are there as well as they now come down to Stavilo. We can see Lazarus just behind. and now we're going to go down to the chicane, and it could be 4 wide by the time we get there, Justin.
I wouldn't be surprised with the way this is going. This is incredible stuff. Lazarus bringing up the rear of this train, practically pushing the Solar Vision, almost bump drafting them on the run down towards Blanchimont. Side by side a little bit further up the road, though. Are they going to be side by side still as they make their way through Blanchimont around the outside for a Lightspeed inside line? Gets the job done and stays ahead of the Lightspeed. Heading now down into the braking zone. Are we going to see a move around the outside? No. They're going to maintain that position. Total Performance continues to lead the way. Lightspeed has Solar Vision around the outside. Lazarus coming on the left-hand side. They're on either side. Might be losing 2 positions on the run down towards the first corner. Side by side still with Lazarus. Inside line, though, for this first corner. Are they going to make contact with the back of the Solar Vision? Getting very, very close. Still side by side coming out of turn 1. Solar Vision and maintains still ahead of the Lightspeed car. Lazarus is through, and Lightspeed is down now to the back of this 4-car battle. Unfortunate for them, but Total Performance now with a pretty sizable gap, sizable by this group's standards anyway, that we were seeing previously. Solar Vision trying to close up to the back of that. Lazarus seeing if they can get close enough to mount an attack into Lake Home, but it doesn't look like they're going to be close enough. I think they're going to be single file through the Lake Home section, and it is going to be Total Performance that leads the way. Solar Vision and then Lazarus with Lightspeed right behind, but all 4 of them still running in very close proximity.
It looks like Virtual Drivers by TXG are caught up in a battle of their own still behind this, so they're not quite able to take advantage and close the gap down. But brilliant racing between these 4 cars battling for the top 3 positions in terms of this race, as we are on board with Solar Vision. Lazarus are the car we can see behind us, as now they go down towards Pau on this on lap number 16 of 25. Further up the road, Red Bull Racing are leading from Rise. Total Performance Racing are just ahead of the car we are on board with, which is Solar Vision. Solar Vision are 4th. Lazarus are then in 5th place behind. Then it is Lightspeed behind that. Lazarus getting closer to Solar Vision. I've got to say, Solar Vision did very well last time we were at the chicane to pick their way through and get into 4th place, but now they've got to try and hold on to that position, because Lazarus are just behind now as they make their way towards Blanchimont. Lazarus are trying to line up a move here on Solar Vision. This is like the sprint race all over again, with these 2 fighting each other here as they now go through Blanchimont. Now down to the ward chicane they go on lap number 16. Solar Vision are surely going to have to defend here. Lazarus will be behind us. Solar Vision sitting in the middle of the circuit. Lazarus will be looking to the outside, I'm sure, as through the chicane we go. Lazarus looking to get the switch back, can't quite do it, so Solar Vision are just going to hold on, but only lap number 17 still of 25, Justin.
Lots of laps still to go, unfortunately for Solar Vision, who seem to be just playing the defensive game at this stage. Can't quite close up to the back of Total Performance Racing, just constantly looking in the rearview mirrors at Lazarus, who gets a great exit out of that first corner, tucked underneath the rear wing of that Solar Vision car as they make their way through Eau Rouge for the 17th time in this race. Up and over the hill through Radillon they go. Again, a great run right underneath the rear wing of the Solar Vision, moving over to the left-hand side. Solar Vision breaking that slipstream ever so slightly. That could be exactly what they need to do. Lazarus just doesn't seem to have the top speed to get close enough to pull side by side into the braking zone for the Lake Home section, and Solar Vision continues to be ahead in this battle with Lightspeed not that far behind either, and Total Performance still just a little ways up the road. Oh, running a little bit wide there. That's going to be an open invitation for Lazarus, who finds the inside line into this downhill right-hander. Solar Vision just about hanging on around the outside. That'll give him the inside line for this next left-hander, and it looks like that's going to be enough to possibly muzzle out the Lazarus. Just give him a squeeze at the exit, and Solar Vision maintains the position ahead of Lazarus. Incredible battling, and yeah, the Lazarus car not going to think about going side by side into Pouan, maintains that position, stays behind for the meantime, which is great news for Total Performance, who have built an even bigger gap now.
Yeah, 10 places now gained for Total Performance Racing. They're in 3rd place, and they are definitely closing in on the top 2. I don't think the top 2 are going to be worried about that just yet. They've, of course, we've still got a pit stop to be made for Rise Motorsport, we believe. But we will stay with this battle now with Solar Vision Racing and Lazarus, who have already been side by side on a couple of occasions so far. I think we're going to add to that tally as we head now down towards the chicane. You can see Lazarus there in the slipstream, getting closer, getting closer. They're going to surely try and have it. Oh, and getting all out of shape there. Oh, and Solar Vision likewise, both just able to stay in a straight line for the chicane. And Lazarus now looking to the outside. Solar Vision, once again, it's almost a replay of the last lap.
It is.
They still, it was exactly the same, wasn't it?
It was. It was identical. Yeah, it looked exactly the same. I was having major deja vu as you were saying that. I was like, wait a minute, I've seen all of this before with the glowing brakes and everything as we get into Les Sources. A bit of a lockup for Solar Vision there. So that's unfortunate for them. But Lazarus not able to take advantage of that at the first corner. Not sure they would have wanted to anyway, as they may have come under attack at the end of Lake Combe. But let's see. Losing a little bit of time through Eau Rouge and Radion and all of that section. But now they'll start to pick up some time. But they're further back than they were on the previous lap. And again, it just seems like the Lazarus doesn't quite have the top speed that they need in order to make that overtake on the Solar Vision. So clearly seems to be struggling at the moment with trying to make that overtake because the Solar Vision is very, very quick. And Solar Vision's not even getting much of a slipstream, if any slipstream, off of that Total Performance car. Again, with that battling, Total Performance has broken away. So Solar Vision really doesn't have any sort of slipstream effect that's helping them down the straight. So I just wonder if Lazarus has a little bit too much downforce, a little bit too short gears. They just don't have the speed.
We have had a team just disconnect. I'm going to ask the guys to repeat that one to me because unfortunately I think we had one of the teams disconnect. We think Alien Motorsport unfortunately out of the race, and that's a real shame for them. They had only finished out of the top 10 coming into this round, so they had been a hugely consistent team, but unfortunately they're not going to be able to make it to the checkered flag on this one. I was just having another look at the points as things have certainly settled down. It looks like we're on 103 points for Rise Motorsport, who are in that second place. Solar Vision are ahead of us. They are in fourth place at the moment, and that let's see how many points that gives them. So trying to do this on the spot is a little bit hard. I think that might give them 104.
18.
Yeah, so that's I don't think that gives them 18 points overall. That gives them 18 points, doesn't it? 86 I think is 104, and then Virtual Drivers by TX3. Now they're in a very frustrating situation because they have been in a battle for a while, and they have actually lost a place now to Fast Racer Sports and make that 2 places. So that's a shame for them. They're only going to have 2 points. So yeah, clearly by about 20 points or so they are out of the top 6. And we did say, Justin, coming into this round, how quickly things can change with the point system we have, and it's changed quite dramatically, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because we saw them fighting back as well. They were up into 8th position, I think, maybe even higher than that when the pit stops were going on. So, yeah, it's really unfortunate for them. We really wanted to see this this 3-way battle for the final 2 positions in that all-important top 6. But unfortunately, TX3 just having a really, really difficult race out there today. Only just inside the top 10 as it stands right now. Another change that we've seen, actually, Lazarus really dropping off the back of Solar Vision in the opening corners of this lap. I only just kind of noticed it as they were coming onto the Kemmel Straight, but Lazarus seemingly just having maybe a rough tail end to the previous lap, a rough start to this lap, but the gap certainly a lot bigger than we've seen recently between Solar Vision and Lazarus. So Lazarus in a little bit of trouble. We're still on board on the front wing of that Lazarus car, making our way down Wuhan, downhill through the high-speed left-hander. And just looking a little bit further back now, this is Pachura in 9th position, running just behind. And looking to take an 8th place position in this race, which would be some additional points for them. Of course, they would love to pick that up. That would be a doubling their points from 3 points to 6 points picked up for this race. So that would be fantastic for Pachura. They've got Fast Racers Ford just up the road ahead of them. And again, we are rapidly running out of time now. I don't expect we're going to be seeing any more pit stops, at least not any more planned pit stops. It is still the Red Bull that leads the way with about a 2-second gap over the Rise car that's sitting in 2nd position. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. There is the Red Bull, looking very comfortable now for leading the championship heading into the super final. You have to say, Chris.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to ask our directors actually to pick up Virtual Drives by TX3, because I wouldn't be surprised if they are carrying some damage, because they have very quickly fallen down the order. They are now only going to be on 80 points. And they're going to be on 83, Solar Vision 104, Rise 103, but they're down in 12th now, and their pace is not very good at all. So I would not be surprised if they have had a bit of an incident somewhere and they're now carrying damage to that car, because the gap to the cars ahead of them has gone up, and the gap to Raging Dragon behind them is coming down, sadly. So a shame for them. I'd say the battle for the top 6 places at the moment could be over. However, if we have a problem, i.e. an incident or Solar Vision or Rise, or even something worse, what we would call a mechanical in esports, a disconnect like we've had for Alien, then it all turns on its head, doesn't it? So the race is always not over until it is over, but I think Virtual Drivers by TX3, unfortunately, their chances of getting into the top 6 may have now come to an end. But we've still got the battle for the lead, of course, overall as well, just in between Red Bull and Lazarus. It looks like Red Bull are doing enough at the moment to win that one there. They're out front comfortably, so they're going to get back on the top step if they can make it across the line first, and they will pick up that $10,000 that go with it. But I guess while we have a little bit of time in this race, Justin, I think this could be a good time to chat about the Rivals round. It's at the bottom of your screen right now, so it's our last Rivals round. It's going to be running until the 3rd of May on Forza Motorsport 7. You have to go on there and set a lap in a Porsche 911 RSR around Spa Francorchamps, have as many goes at it as possible until 50 minutes past 11 on the May the 3rd. And if you are the quickest in your region, then you will be competing in the Super Final on the 19th and 20th of September in the Pro-Am class, where you'll have a chance to fight for $50,000. More details for that at LMES Head there to find out all the details and sign up for updates as well. So, Justin, you know, we can do it from the safety of our own houses as well. A great chance for anyone to compete in a world level event in esports.
Yeah, exactly right. Anybody can get in, absolutely anybody. So yeah, it's absolutely worth giving a shot. And I mean, driving a Porsche 911 RSR around Spa Francorchamps, that's no hardship. You know, let's get that out of the way. That's a good time, if we're totally honest. So you know, go head in, give it a shot. You know, see how close you can get. Maybe you'll end up being closer than you thought. Maybe you'll end up putting in some practice. Maybe you'll end up being fastest in your region and getting a chance to compete. So yeah, it's certainly worth giving a try. You know, there's no reason not to. If you've got Forza Motorsport 7, if you've got an Xbox or a PC and you want to give it a shot, yeah, that Rivals is going on now. You give it a shot. Ooh, things are getting really spicy here now in this battle for 8th position. The Fast Racers Forza coming under attack from Pachura, getting very, very close through that downhill right-hander. But yeah, the Rivals, as you said, going on until the late evening of May 3rd. Oh, getting even closer through P1. Incredible stuff with the invitation. Look at backwards at the Pachura on board with the Fast Racing Forza. And yeah, we're really coming to the end now. Only 4 laps remaining after this lap is completed.
Yeah, I'm going to ask actually the guys to give me the times in the Rivals event at the moment that are leading the way. So that will give you a bit of a guideline as to what kind of times you need to be setting to give yourself a chance, because we're split into 3 regions. And
I've actually got it. It looks like it's 216s, 217s, 218s. Like if you really want to be competitive, you want to be at least in the 218s.
At least someone knows what they're doing. But there we go. So There we go. But, let's go back to this battle then. Fast Racers Forza, we're on board with Pashura behind us. Pashura, this in the battle for 8th place on track at the moment. And at the moment, they're going to stay in 9th. But Fast Racers Forza running a little bit deep on the brakes there. That's going to give Pashura a chance coming on to the start-finish straight. They're going to be on the outside as we go towards La Source. It looks like Fast Racers Forza got a bit of a better run out the chicane. Oh, selling the dummy there for sure. They're going to head down the outside at La Source. I've got to say, Fast Racers Forza changed their line last minute. They're cutting across the nose of Pashura, and with doing that, they have just been able to hang on. But now we head to the Kemmel, and Pashura are going to have the toe down there and the chance to make a move into Lake Home.
Here we go, coming up and over the hill, getting that slipstream. Is it going to be enough for them? They're looking a few car lengths back. I don't think they're going to be close enough before they are able to make a move into Lake Home. Yeah, I think they're going to have to stay behind for the meantime and just follow that Fast Racers Forza. And again, this is for a good haul of points. This is for 3 additional championship points, some extra money as well too. So yeah, this is there's definitely motivation for that Pachura team to try and get up into that 8th place position if they can. Up at the top, we can see the gaps at the moment between all of the drivers. We're seeing Lazarus 1.2 off that 4th place position, but this is the main battle at the moment that we're watching, this battle for 8th, with Pachura running very closely behind. Through Puan they go, not quite as close as they were last time through Puan, but that's probably okay. They were a little bit too close, I would say, through that one. Very scary stuff on the previous lap, but time continues to tick down. At the moment, you have to say the Pachura car looks a little bit quicker. Seems just that little bit faster, but at the moment, really struggling to get past the Fast Racers Forza, looking very quick at the end of the straights, getting great exits where it counts. For example, through Curve Paul Frere, coming out of Stavilo through Curve Paul Frere. You want to make sure you have a good run through there. That way you're carrying that speed all the way down through Blanchimont, which is going to be a very high-speed left-hander. You're going to be carrying that speed through Blanchimont all the way down towards the bus stop chicane. So that's a crucial couple of corners, Stavilo and Curve Paul Frere. Obviously, La Source is going to be a super important corner as well. You just want to try and make sure that you carry as much speed through there at the exit, through Eau Rouge, through Radion, and try to protect yourself from that overtake as much as possible. Really only 3 more primary overtaking locations remain for this Pachura car. Will we see it happen here on lap 23? That's going to be a question that we'll find an answer to very shortly.
It will. Now, Justin, I want to hear your thoughts on this. The time, leading time in the Rivals event at the moment, 2 minutes 16.790. How close to that do you reckon you can get?
I'd say 3 seconds.
What?
I think 3 seconds is being generous. Yep.
Well, we won't be seeing you at the Super Final then. Well, maybe like this,
no.
Of course. Definitely not. Hopefully you're on the mark. Hopefully you're part of the team for that. But guys, time 2 minutes 16.790. That's the leading time at the moment. I have to stress that because up until May the 3rd, we will have lap times going in almost every single minute, I'm sure. So get on Forza Motorsport 7. Get yourself competing. If you're the quickest in your region, you'll be competing in the Super Final on the 19th and 20th of September, fighting for a $50,000 prize pool. There is a $100,000 prize pool at that Super Final for these guys. In the pro class, there'll be 9 pro teams, 9 pro-am teams. And there is, of course, $50,000 for this, the Pro Series. And at the moment, the $10,000 that goes to the winner is going to be to these guys here, Red Bull Racing. It's been an absolutely fantastic season for Red Bull Racing so far. 4th, 9th at round 1, and then they've had they haven't been out the top 3 basically since then. They had 4 wins on the bounce, 2 seconds, and then a 3rd place. And it looks like they're going to get their 5th win of the season if they can stay out of trouble.
Yeah, looking fantastic, you have to say. Red Bull are going to be the sort of regular season champions, I guess you could say, scoring more points than Lazarus. Just less than 2 laps, just under 2 laps to go for that Red Bull 911 RSR around the lovely circuit of Spa Francorchamps in Belgium, which has given us some fantastic racing here today. I have to say, this circuit did not disappoint. We had high hopes for what we were going to see here today, and we got exactly what we were hoping for. Some fantastic racing, that fantastic recovery drive as well from Red Bull Racing. Just on the topic of RBR and the results that they've had this season, let's just talk even about that first race that we had today. Missing that huge bit of rear wing, missing the entire rear wing entirely, and just going very strong with all that damage on the car still, and really just showing why they've accumulated more points than anybody else in this regular season.
It did look a little bit strange, did it? But I've got to say they should take it off. You should take it off more often, because they
looked
looked even better. It looked good, actually. Yeah. They were really smoking. It's coming to the braking zone, but we have Rise Motorsport, and I've got to say this will be a fantastic end to the season for them. Why? Well, Rise Motorsport, they have finished in the top 10 in every single race so far this season. Hugely consistent team. There was only 6 teams that had done that coming into this race, but of those 6 teams, Rise were the only one not to take a podium. They didn't do that after they had their spin in the sprint race, and they're going to get what will be their first podium of the season if they stay where they are. So it would be a well-deserved result, because that is hugely impressive consistency to stay out of trouble every single race, to always get a top 10, and points get prizes, don't they, Justin? I think this is just a proof of that, because they're going to qualify through now to the Super Final.
Consistency is key. It's always super important when it comes to, especially to championships. And it's even more important, believe it or not, when you have so few races, because you need to be able to put in those points scoring finishes at absolutely every single race if you want to be competitive in the championship, if you want to be one of those teams that's in the top 6 come the end of the season. And Rise came into this weekend in the top 5. They were in 5th position coming into this weekend, and they had that challenged, but here they are. They're in 2nd position. They're ahead of Total Performance, who picked up that win last time out at Sebring at the endurance race. Keep in mind, Rise finished in 6th position at both races last time out at Sebring. They were in 6th in the sprint race, 6th in the endurance race. But here they are today at Spa, picking up their first podium of the season, coming home in 2nd position, and not that far, less than 2 seconds to Red Bull. And we've been talking up Red Bull this entire time. We've been talking up Red Bull really all season long, honestly, because why wouldn't you? They've been performing absolutely incredibly. And for Rise to finish that close behind Red Bull at the end of a 25-lap race at Spa, that is a huge accomplishment. I'm absolutely chuffed for them. They should be hugely proud of this result. And they're going to be going to that super final as a result. So I imagine the champagne, at least the virtual champagne, is going to be flowing if they don't have any in stock already.
Well, we've had a penalty come in. I'm just going to get the team confirmed. Actually, someone's had Pashura have had a penalty for track cutting, unfortunately. So we'll pick up the repercussions of that after the race. I have to say, Rise though. They have always done better in the endurance races. Every single round, their endurance has been better than their sprint race. So they know how to do these endurance races. They are very good at it, and they're going to finish 2nd and qualify through to the super final. But we have the race leaders, very soon the race winners and the series winners as well. $10,000 is about to go to Red Bull Racing, because all they have to do is make it through the chicane, and they are going to be the first winners of the Le Mans Esports Pro Team Series. One more corner to go. Red Bull Racing are crowned the champions of the Le Mans Esports Pro Team Series. They take the final win of the season and $10,000, and we will see them at the super final along with Rise Motorsport. They've secured their place in the top 6, as have Total Performance Racing, as have Solar Vision Racing, as have Lazarus as well, with that 5th place. Brilliant stuff. Fast Racers Forza, they may be in 9th here, but they are also going to be going to the super final. The top 6 teams and the super finals have been confirmed. The champions have been confirmed as well, and that is Red Bull Racing. Those 6 teams are going to be joined by 3 others one being Williams Esports, which we'll talk about in just a second, and then 2 wildcards. But Justin, brilliant performance by Red Bull there when they needed it. They've taken the title and $10,000.
Yeah, I mean, they were really, especially after the pit stop phase there, they were really in a class of their own. Again, Rise was pretty close at the end there, but Red Bull looked pretty much untouched in the second stage of that race after they had been into the pits. So yeah, you have to say Red Bull deserved that win. They deserved the points that they got this season. They deserve winning this series before we head to the super final. Really impressive stuff. That said, I think Rise is my, kind of team of the day, because that performance to come home in second position, secure themselves in the top 6 as well. That's just a fantastic story. Really love it.
Yeah, commiserations to virtual drivers by TX3, but congratulations to all the teams on providing fantastic racing so far this season. Speaking of, we had some fantastic racing back in January at the Autosport International show with the Autosport Teams Invitational, where the winner did qualify through to the super final. The winners were Williams Esports, and this is how they did it. This is the Le Mans Esports Teams Invitational. We are away and racing for 2 hours. There's only 1.2 seconds between the top 2. The winner will go to the Le Mans Esports Series Super Final. Here we go then, Williams versus Jota. 1 lap to decide. To the Porsche Canes. I wonder, Jota getting very close now. It is getting seriously close. That was a mistake there from Williams. And oh no, big mistake. And that's a spin there from the Jota team. Williams are going to take the win. Williams across the line. Give him a round of applause, everyone. Williams win the Autosport Teams Invitational. It's their only chance to do it. And they're going to be going to the Mans Esports Series Super Final. There you go. Fantastic event. That was, I have to say, was a part of it. And really fantastic stuff. It went all the way down to the wire. That congratulations to Williams Esports, because they have gone through. 6 more teams have gone through here in the Pro Team Series. I believe we're going to have some replays now, Justin. So I'll hand over to you to talk us through the best bits from the final race of the series.
And what a final race it was. Absolutely incredible. Really enjoyed that one. Battling all throughout the field. This is how it all started as they headed side by side into turn 1. And again, just a reminder to the viewers, this was the reverse grid. You can see the Raging Dragon just losing the back end there as they were 4 or 5 wide, I think, at the start of this race, actually, with a couple of cars going off the circuit. Thankfully, lots of runoff area in that opening corner. This is at the end of that opening lap. We can see just a little bit of contact there. That was the 73 of the virtual drivers by TX3, just making a little bit of contact into that chicane. Still very bunched up at the beginning of this race. Here we are at the start of lap number 3. You can see again 3 wide, 4 wide, possibly even at the background, as some more cars make good use of that runoff area at the exit of La Source as they headed down towards Eau Rouge, which was lovely to see. Fantastic to see the 911 RSR making its way through that fantastic series of corners. That was when it all went wrong for the Solar Vision, losing the back end through Eau Rouge, coming up and over Radion, and losing that position to the Rise car. The Rise car going on to take second position in that race. This is where the rain started to fall at about the halfway point of the race. The Rise machine going alongside the Lightspeed car and taking that position. Even before the braking zone, that was a fairly comfortable overtake for them at that point. This is when things got very exciting. This is when we had that 4-way battle going on. Lightspeed and Solar Vision and Lazarus, who is in the tail end of this at the moment, getting involved. Total Performance getting past Lightspeed, who did such a good job to hold on to the lead of this race for as long as they did. They built a gap of about 5 seconds early on in the race, and they were able to hold that for a long time, but then the rain came, and then this is when the overtakes started to happen. They got back up the inside on the Total Performance car, but then in the end, eventually would end up losing positions to all 3 of these cars, Total Performance, Solar Vision, and the Lazarus, all eventually making overtakes on Lightspeed, but still very well very well fought by them, very well defended. This was at the point where the Lightspeed had started to fall behind. This is Solar Vision coming under attack by the Lazarus car into that downhill right-hander, and eventually getting through just about. It looked like, or was this when Solar Vision defended it successfully? This was when Solar Vision squeezed them out at the exit at the corner with no name. And as they went through, the big wiggles were going on there for both of the cars. Lazarus wiggling at the inside curb, and then in the end, though, it was Red Bull that picked up the victory. And again, as we said, $10,000 for that very well-deserved win. And again, fairly comfortable for them after that pit stop phase.
Yeah, well, of course, we said that we reiterated that 10 grand, but 7,500 to second in the championship, 5 grand to third, 4 grand, 3.5, 3,000. So the top 6 have all walked in with at least 1,000, but all the teams that have raced in every single race of the season have taken home at least $1,000. So fantastic stuff. Let's talk through who finished where then in the standings. Don't forget, these are provisional standings. We have to do some post-race checks just to make sure everything is in order. But as it stands, this is it. There we can see Red Bull Racing then taking the championship. They were tied on points going into this with Lazarus. Not a good race for Lazarus. So in the end, Red Bull walking home with a comfortable series win. Lazarus second. Total Performance Racing finished in great series for them. Likewise, Fast Racers Forza, they've been very impressive this season. They've taken 3 podiums and a win. Solar Vision Racing, they've been on the top step this season. They were in 5th, just 1 point ahead of Rise Motorsport, who ended with their first podium of the season. Commiserations to Virtual Drivers by TX3. They've done really well. They started the series with a podium, 7th in the end, though, for them. Team Fordzilla finished in 8th place. They had, I think, just 1 point after the first round, so they've done well to recover from that. With a better first round, I think they may have been in that fight for 6th. Pashura, they ended pretty strong, didn't they? They in 9th place. Lightspeed Esports showed a really good pace at that last round. They were 10th. Sad for Alien Motorsport. Unfortunately, they didn't get a chance to finish with a disconnect. And then we have VP Gaming. John Lacey weren't with us this round. And we had Legion of Racers, Team Highlands, Raging Dragon Esports. So that is that. That is how the standings sit. You said Justin, Rise there were your team of the day. Anyone, I know you haven't commentated on the whole series, but from what you've kind of followed, is there any teams that stood out to you? Do you think that have been the most impressive, other than those who we expected to be?
I have to say, I did really enjoy the battling between Red Bull and Lazarus. Fantastic battling all throughout the season, and a wonderful story to follow them, and to end up level on points in the final race. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. You have to enjoy that sort of stuff. But I got to say, my favorite team probably would have to be Solar Vision, just for the paint schemes. I love the Solar Vision liveries. I am absolutely biased, but it looks fantastic. It probably looks a lot like my office, actually. So you might be able to understand that bias, having seen my office. But yeah, I mean, it was fantastic. It was great last time out as well, obviously, which was my first time doing the commentary. It was great to see Fast Racers Forza picking up that win at Sebring as well. Yeah, it was a lot of fun just joining for these final couple of rounds, trying to fill in for Harry, who of course we all miss. Everybody loves Harry. But yeah, it was great coming in to fill in for these 2 rounds. I've really enjoyed myself. Some fantastic racing.
It's been an absolute privilege to have you along, Justin. Thank you for giving up your time. Thank you for joining us for these last couple of rounds. For me, I think we talked about Rise. I think there's something about the consistency of them being in the top 10 every single race and finishing with that best result of a podium when they needed it, to after making the mistake they did in the sprint race, to get themselves settled down again and then come out and get their best result of the season. Well done. But well done to all the teams. It's been absolutely fantastic race. And Justin, I think we were lucky tonight that we had the race of the series in that sprint race. It was absolutely fantastic. And I hope you guys have enjoyed watching the Le Mans Esports Series. We're into the 2nd season of it now. The first time we ran the Pro Team Series, I think it's been a huge success, Justin. I think it's come at a very good time as well, hasn't it? We've had fantastic racing when there's not much around to watch.
Yeah, it's difficult circumstances. Everybody has to stay at home and stay safe. Obviously, staying safe is the most important thing. And we're happy to provide a little bit of entertainment, or in today's case, a lot of entertainment to those that are joining us from around the world. And we hope you guys are staying safe, and your families and friends are staying safe as well during this difficult time at the moment. So we appreciate all of the teams, all of the drivers, and especially all of the viewers as well.
Justin, thank you for that. Well, as we've got in the top of the screen there, hashtag race at home, we're giving you the chance to do that because you can qualify for the super final. That is the next Le Mans Esports Series. I say, unfortunately, it's all the way in September, so a little bit of a wait for it. 19th and 20th of September is when we're going to go racing again for the super final. Top 6 teams you've seen here, they're going to be amongst the 9 teams in the pro class, the pro-am class you can be a part of. Head to Forza Motorsport 7 Rivals event there, and hopefully we'll see you then. But for now, stay at home, stay safe, guys. We'll see you soon.